is Tracy, and if you hear any jingle jangles in this video, it's because I'm wearing this sweater dress because we had an ugly sweater party at work, even though I don't look ugly and I look super cute, but you know, that's aside from the point. So today we're going to be doing a video talking about magic cards I loathe part 2. I did the first part of this video a couple weeks ago, so I will list it in the down bar below if you want to check it out, but these are cards that I just hate and I get to rant about them and it's super fun for me, so let's get into it. The first card, this is a card that honestly I don't think I hate as much anymore as I used to because now I have more ways around it, but like, do you know when like you get started into Magic and like there's those cards that like, you know, when you're playing and like you don't have like full knowledge yet of like all of the cool cards that are out there, and there's just cards that like once your friend plays you're just like, I hate that card, like like because you just don't have an answer for it, and then like the more you play you develop answers and stuff. So like this card I think started out as like one of my main sources of frustration, but now it is much better and I don't have as much frustration, but that is Ensnaring Bridge. Yeah, I can definitely see why a lot of people don't like this card and are very frustrated with this card because, you know, you can just, I think, really build a deck around this card and, like, you know, shape it, I would say. And also, too, I feel like it's an artifact, so I find that it's a lot easier to remove versus, like, other types of cards. I feel like artifact removal is, like, so out there, which is why I'm saying it used to be more of my frustration, but yeah, it's just a super rude card. Creatures with power greater than the number of cards in your hand can't attack. It's just a very oppressive card. I'm not a huge fan of cards that are like massively oppressive like this. They just kind of really bother me, so not a fan of this card. I presently hate this card. Torpor Orb. This card makes me so mad. This card makes me want to like scratch my nails on a chalkboard. Like, I hate this card because my main source of like removal, like artifact removal, are cards like Reclamation Siege, and I can't use cards like this. I have so many ETB creatures in my Tassiger deck, so when Paul plays this card, I'm like, I want to take it and like rip up every single copy of this card. I hate Torpor Orb. It's a card that I would honestly just never run. Like, there's some of these cards I'm going to talk about later that like I hate, but I would run. I know, does that make any sense? Like, do you guys understand that like logic? Like, you hate it, but you still run it kind of thing. You just hate it when people use it against you. This is a card that I would never play. I just hate it. It's so oppressive. It's so mean, and it really just shuts down a lot of my decks, and I'm not a huge fan of it. And like, I totally understand the whole like, you know, if you're running cards like Reclamation Siege, like you should run other cards like instants and sorceries that get rid of like artifact removal, and I totally do. It's just like I never freaking draw them, or I draw Reclamation Siege and it just laughs in my face. So I hate this card. Okay, the next card, I'm super spiteful against this card, and that is Daretti, and I've talked a number of times about, like, when these commander sets came out, like, everyone and their mother built this deck, and, like, to me, I think it's really boring seeing, like, the same type of EDH decks, because, like, I feel like EDH is so creative. Like, you have so many different outlets. Like, you can run cards that, like, no one has ever heard of before, and I think that's really cool, or, like, cards that are just super underrated, and I think that's awesome. But, like, I think when this card, like, came out and it was so popular and, like, everyone was building this deck, I just got super sick of it and I was like, I'm bored. Like, to me, like, building decks that everyone else builds is, like, such a more competitive format thing. Like, again, I don't view EDH as, like, more of a competitive format, but I guess it just, like, depends on your, you know, on your playgroup and stuff like that. But, yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of Daretti. I feel like he's just super overrated, and I hate when people run him as his commander because he's, like, super hard to kill. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of this card. I don't like it. Okay, this is, I don't actually think I've told you guys the story with this. My first impression of EDH, I would say, is I remember it was like my first year of college, I think, and I was in this game and like I got like thrown into this game. Like, obviously I didn't have a deck at the time, and so I was using like someone else's, like one of my friends at the time, and they were like, here, like play, and like I had no idea what I was doing, and Omen Machine was out, and I was really frustrated because I was like, are all games of EDH like supposed to look like this? Like, what's going on? Like, I hate, again, I'm talking about like all these oppressive cards because like that is to me like cards that I really just don't really loathe. But this card is just super like, I don't know, like restrictive. Like, I don't like it. It says like players can't draw cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, you exile the top card of your library. If it's a land, you put it on the battlefield, and then you cast it without paying its mana cost. Like, I hate the whole thing of like, you know, not being able to like draw additional cards, because I always tend to find that something that I like to do in my decks. So when I'm not able to draw cards, that makes me like really frustrated. And being able to like only play like one card per turn, like I'm not a huge fan. I just don't like restrictive type cards like this. Not a fan. Okay. this card. I need like a hot minute for this card because I hate it. Progenitus. I hate this card so much. So much. What do I hate more? This or Torpor Orb? I can't decide. Like, what I think frustrates me is, like, when they print cards like this and you look at it in, like, other formats, you're like, that's a joke. But, like, in EDH, realistically, getting 2 of each color is not an issue. Unless you're playing in a playgroup where, like, people win on turn 2. Like, you're playing games that last a little bit longer and, like, you can realistically get Progenitus out. Like, it's not an issue to cast him. Because I feel like some people look at this and they're like, well, like, it's hard to cast. No, it's not hard to cast. It's not. It's just not. It's got pro everything. That's stupid. And then if you put it into the graveyard, reveal it, and shuffle into its owner's library. Now, a lot of people are on this as their commander for, like, the colors and things like that. But if you're not, if you're just doing this and then you just put it back into your library, like, that is so dumb. Like, I hate this card. I hate this card. I can't. We have to not talk about this card anymore because it makes me mad. Okay. Another card I don't like is Torrent Elemental. And I feel like this card is just super not fair. Like, it's just not fair. Like, it does too many good things, and I don't like that. I think, funny story, I actually ran this for a short period of time in my Tassiger EDH deck, and I took it out. And I can't remember, I think I took it out because it was being super mean. And that deck is pretty mean, but it's not, like, that mean. And I find this card super rude. Again, oppressive card. It's 5 mana, it's flying. And so I already hate that because it's 5 mana and it's flying for a 3/5 because that means that it's got evasion. So it attacks, you tap all creatures that player controls. Well, that's dumb. Every time it attacks. What if you're playing things where you get second combat phases and you just get to keep attacking? That's dumb. And then they make creatures and then you can tap them down again. That's stupid. But then for 5 mana, if you know, you put it from the exile onto the battlefield tapped. So I guess it's like, you have to realistically, like, get it exiled, but I don't know. In, like, Horde of Notions type deck when you're playing elementals, I just think this card is, like, super unfair, because you can keep bringing it back with Horde, and then if someone exiles it, you get to, like, bring Torrent Elemental back, and I just have major problems with this card. I do not like it. Okay. This is a card that, it was so funny, like, I put this card on my list and I was like, I haven't seen anyone play with this card in, like, a while, like, which is weird. I don't know where I remembered coming up. This is a card that I would run, however, even though I don't like it being used against me, and that is Aura Shards. And, I think what makes this card, like, in my opinion, like, super amazing is that it's, like, creature. It's not, like, non-token creature, because I always tend to find, like, I have like a Sliver Queen deck, and so like I find that if I was running like this in Slivers in that deck, it would be so busted because you run Aura Shards and you just make tokens and you just blow up all their stuff. Like, you blow up all their artifacts and their enchantments. Like, I just think this card is like super mean and I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, I mean, I am. I want to run it, but other people run it. It's very rude. Okay. This kind of goes back to my hatred, I would say, and my very strong opinionated feelings towards Tron in Modern. I really just hate everything about that deck. Like, if I could honestly take one Magic deck and burn it from existence, it would be Tron. Like, I hate that deck so much. I've lost to it so many times, and I just think I hate it because it's just super rude, and I just, like, I can't even ultimately express to you how much I hate that type of deck. I just hate that deck so much. All versions of said deck. If I could set something on fire, like, if one day Tron is being set on fire, you know Tracy did it, and I'm fully disclosing. Okay, Oblivion Stone, or O-Stone. Yeah, I feel like this card, I hate it. You put a fate counter on target permanent, and then you sack it, and you destroy each non-land permanent without a fate counter on it. So basically, you put it on all your stuff, and then you just destroy everyone's types of things. And so again, like, what was I gonna say? In Tron, like, they'll do this, and Oblivion Stone will just, like, chill, and then you're like, sweet, I, like, don't want to play any creatures or anything because you're just gonna blow up my entire board. And they run 4 of them, so they're always gonna play them, and pumping out tons of mana is actually just not an issue. So I hate this card, I hate that deck, everything about it makes me want to set things on fire. Okay. Again, this is another card I have to move on from talking about because I'm just gonna get myself in a tizzy because I hate it so much. I've been saying that so much recently, get yourself in a tizzy. I love that. Okay, I totally don't know how to pronounce this card, but it'll be up here. I call it N-Disc because, does anyone know how to say this? Because I don't. Not that it actually matters. I feel like people get super upset about pronunciation. It doesn't matter at all. Like, I'm an English major and I'm just saying, like, pronunciation of, like, abnormal type of words actually just don't matter. Anyways, okay, this card. I don't like this card, and why I don't like this card is because if someone's gonna board wipe, like, you know, if someone has like an instant or a sorcery board wipe, I'm like, okay, sweet, like that's fine, I understand. But like the fact that this card just like chills on the battlefield is what I hate about it, because like they play it and then you're like, cool, okay, well, when are they gonna pop that off? Because then you're like in a predicament where you're like, okay, I don't know if they're gonna do it now, if they're gonna do it 20 turns from now, and like whatever, what kind of stuff should I play? Should I not play anything at all? Like it just leaves me, like it messes up my whole game plan. Because like if someone like throws off a board wipe, I'm like, okay, cool, the board wipe's gone. You know, at least for now. Well, maybe they'll bring it back, but like, you know, for now I'm like dealing with, you know, the present state of the board. But this just chills there, and I don't like that. Boy, I'm super angry in this video. I'm super feisty. This is a very angry type of video. Okay, the last card, actually funny, I put another card in this slot, and I honestly don't know why I put that card in there, because again, it's a card that like, I wrote this list, I don't know where I'm pointing, the list is like over there, but I wrote this list a while back of cards I loathe, and I put some other card in it, and I was like, I don't even know anyone who plays with this card. So I was thinking, and I was like, what cards do I like really hate that I like need to talk about? And I was like, this card, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. I can't even put into sufficient words, I think, my personal feelings about this card. I think what makes, in my opinion, what makes this card super busted is, you know, some people, they pay 8 mana and then they -7. And they, you know, they do the minus and they do their thing. But what some people do is they'll up to Ugin and they'll have creatures, so they'll protect him and he sticks around for a combat phase. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. But then it's like he's at 9, and then they're like -8, and then Ugin sticks around. So I feel like the fact that he's an uneven number, I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but like the fact that he's an uneven number makes it so it's so much harder to kill him. And then if you're playing this in like an artifact deck, or you have a ton of artifacts, you know, which I feel like that's a super common theme in EDH, is people running like tons of artifacts, like Daretti and all that sort of stuff, which is another reason I hate that card, because you run Ugin and Daretti. Ugh, that makes me so mad. Ugh. Cringing. But I just think that makes it super busted. And also too, or what some people will do is they will up to, do his first uptick twice, which gets him to math 11, and then you -10, but you're at 1. And that to me is super unfair, because like a lot of other planeswalkers, like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of other planeswalkers like don't have this issue where they're like, their loyalty like makes sense to me. Like this loyalty to me is just too good. Like this is too good of a card. Like all of the abilities, like bolting something like for uptick 2 and starting out at 7 loyalty is amazing. And the fact that it's colorless, so you can pay any amount of mana for it. So like anyone and their mother can run this card in EDH. And I know I could too, but I hate it and I would never run it because thought about it, really thought about it, guys, but didn't. So this card makes me super unhappy, and also it's ran in Tron, so you know, that's just another shrimp on the Barbie. I don't want to talk about it. So that is it. I need to like go play with a cat right now or something, because this video made me super feisty. But that is it. I'd really like to know what cards you loathe in the comments below, and I always think of Wicked when I loathing. There's a strange exhilaration. I just like that song. That's a great musical. Okay, I don't know where all my other tabs went, but anyways. I will see you guys in my next video on Thursday.